All right, 7.2, part 2. We've learned the distributive property. We've also multiplied binomials in a table. I'm going to quickly address one more method, which is using FOIL. I do not use FOIL method. So this is this next one here. Our next, use the FOIL method. So you have all those question marks behind it. The FOIL method is really not necessary. You don't need to know it. Really, FOIL is an acronym. It stands for FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. Really, it's just a way of describing the distributive property. Okay, what I mean by that is if I'm multiplying x plus 2 times x plus 1, the first thing I'm going to multiply is the x times the x. Those are both the first term in these two binomials. The first term is the x, the first term is the x, hence first. Okay. The next thing I would multiply is the x times the 1. That's the outside. The x times the 1 is the outside. The first would be the x times the x. Because these are both on the outside of this. This is in the first, this is the last. They're the outside terms. Okay, because they're both on the outside, right? Outside, outside. Okay, next we would multiply, if I was distributive property, we multiply the 2 times the x. Well, the 2 and the x are what we call the inside terms because they're both right here in the middle. They're in the inside. We have our outside terms, our inside terms. Okay. And then last but not least, we would multiply the 2 times the 1, which those are both the last terms of the binomials. Again, this is just a way of doing the distributive property. So I'm like, why learn some other method? There's many teachers who do not teach FOIL, but it is referred in our textbook. So I wanted to make sure that you weren't like, what the heck is this FOIL thing? Okay, it's just distribute, pretty much is just distribute. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to do a few more examples, okay, in this part 2. I'm going to do one using a table, one without a table. Okay, so it says find each product. So here I'm going to multiply x minus 3. First thing I'm going to change that into plus and minus. Plus and minus. I think I'm going to do this one using a table. So I have my x and my negative 3. And then I'm going to have my x and my negative 6. So now I'm going to multiply my x times my x, which is x to the second. That's what goes here. Now I'm going to multiply my x times my negative 3. Well, that's negative 3x. That goes there. Now this one I'm going to multiply the x times the negative 6, which is negative 6x. And then here I'm going to multiply the negative 6 times the negative 3. Negative times negative is positive 18. Hey, normally, we don't write that positive in there, right? It's just play straight up 18. Okay, now we look for like terms. This 3x and this 6x are like terms, so I can add them. I want my x squared first. Negative 6x, negative 3x is negative 9x plus 18. There's my multiplication using a table. Okay, this next one I'm going to do without a table. Again, I have a subtraction here, so we're going to do plus and minus. I'm taking 2x plus 1 times 3x plus negative 5. So I'm going to write out each step because, again, we're still learning, so those steps are helpful. I need to take the 2x times the 3x, 2x times 3x, and then 2x times the negative 5, plus 2x times the negative 5. Okay. And then now multiply by the 1. I'm going to take the 1 times the 3x, so plus 1 times 3x, plus the 1 times the negative 5. All right, now let's multiply this out. 2x times 3x. We have 2 times 3, which is 6. X times x is x to the second. Plus 2x times negative 5. There's a multiply in there, so that's going to give me negative 10x. Plus 1 times 3x is 3x. Plus 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Now, again, we have my like terms here in the middle. When I add those, negative 10 and negative 3 is negative 7x. I've got my 6x squared in front, my minus 5, subtract 5 in back, and there we are. There's my multiplication. Again, we were just multiplying binomial times binomial. Okay, same with this one. We could have foiled these, and really we did on this one. I multiplied first, outside, inside, last. I'm foiling, but we just call it distributive property. One less thing to remember. Okay. But now on this next one, ooh, looky here, we are multiplying a binomial, 2 terms, 1, 2, times a trinomial, 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. We just distribute. This is where FOIL does not work. FOIL only works with a binomial times a binomial. 2 terms times 2 terms. You get any more than 2 terms, it doesn't work, which is why I don't like it. I like a rule that works all the time. So here, distributive property will work in this case. I just have to multiply by 1 extra thing. So I'm going to show this problem both ways using a table and just using distributive property. I'm going to do distributive property first. So this would be plus a minus, change it to plus a negative, and then now I'm going to multiply by my x. So I'm going to take x times x to the second. So x times x to the second. I'm going to take the x, so plus x times the negative 3x. And then take the x times the negative 2. I just have one extra step, plus x times the negative 2. All right. Plus, now I need to multiply by the 5. So the plus 5 times the x to the second, plus 5 times the negative 3x, plus 5 times the negative 2. Now we multiply. Oh, what is x times x to the second? That's x to the 1. So here I've got 1x, here I've got 2 x's. So really I'm multiplying 3 x's, so that would be x to the third. Plus, all right, this next one, x times negative 3x. Well, I'm going to have negative 3. X to the first, so that's going to be negative 3x to the second. Plus, that's negative 2x. Plus 5x to the second. Plus 5 times negative 3x is negative 15x. Plus negative 10. Now I look and put together like terms. Well, I don't have any other x to the thirds in here. Nope, I just have that 1x to the third, so we'll have a straight up x to the third. Now we look at my x to the seconds. I do have more than one of those. X to the second, x to the second. So here I've got negative 3 plus the 5 is positive 2x to the second. Now I do the same thing with my x's, negative 2x, negative 15x, which is going to give me negative 17x's. And then last, my constant, my minus 10. There it is. Sorry, I kind of switched colors in the problem. And the minus 10. So there's what we get. We could have done this one using a table. So I'm gonna set this one up using a table. So I'm gonna have, I need my x and my plus 5. So I'm gonna have my x and my 5. And then now I'm gonna need 3 going down here. I'm gonna have x to the second, negative 3x, and my negative 2. Okay, but now we kind of do it the same way. Here's where my x times x to the second is going to be. So that's going to be my x to the third. This one here is going to be my 5 and my x squared. So that's going to be 5x squared. Okay, this one here is going to be my x and my negative 3x. So I'm going to take x times negative 3x, which is negative 3x squared. This one is my 5 times my negative 3, so that's negative 15x. And then here I take my x times my negative 2, negative 2x. And then this last one is the 5 times the negative 2, which is negative 10. And again, now I look for like terms. Well, I only have one x to the third. That's the only x to the third I've got. Okay, and I've got a 5x squared and a negative 3x squared, which is going to give me plus 2x squared. And then I've got a negative 15x and a negative 2x, which gives me negative 17x. And then last but not least is this guy right here, my minus 10. So if you notice, I got the same thing. X to the third plus 2x squared minus 17x minus 10. Table, not table. So unless it tells you to use a table or don't use a table, do it however method you prefer. We will be coming back to this table method when we come to factoring, which you don't know what that is yet, but we'll talk about that later. But just so you're aware that we will come back to that table method. Okay, so now your next set of practice is page 369, 32 through 44 even, and 55 through 58. Okay. When you're all done, submit those. Again, do them on paper, showing all your work. When you're done, submit them to Schoology.